If you care about God to a certain degree, you'll make less bad decisions. If you care about your mother in some degree, you'll make better decisions to respect her, you'll listen to her, etc. Like that's how it works. And if we know God is above all of our mothers and everyone we could ever care about, then the degree in which we should obey should be higher. Now, as a Christian, one of the most important things you should do in your life is always hold yourself accountable for every part that you take in each situation. So if I go to the club tonight, I won't, but if I go to the club tonight and I get shot and I survive, of course it's lame that somebody came to the club shooting. I understand that. Of course it's irresponsible that somebody came to the club shooting. Cool, I understand that. But I could have avoided all of that had it not been for the sake of me wanting to go turn up in the club. I'm not saying you can't go have fun and do what you want to, like, you can't go have fun and, you know, chill and always be afraid of, like, am I doing the wrong thing? But the club usually isn't wholesome people. The club doesn't usually entail a bunch of believers in there like, hey, we love you, we want to make sure the best for you. Most people go to the club with their intent. Most people want to have sex, get drunk, listen to all kinds of music that's degrading to, you know, people in general. And that's the vibe of the club. Women in there, you know, being pursued by men that just want them for, you know, sexual attention. And then a lot of women in there for the sake of wanting to be, you know, pursued. Like, women don't generally go to the club that is only women clubs, and men don't generally go to clubs that are only for men. Like, we understand on a deep level that we want to be seen by the opposite sex, and we have goals in being seen. Let's not pretend. So when bad things happen to us, if there was any portion leading up to it that we could control, it's also our responsibility. Every decision that we make has a consequence, whether good or bad. If I go crank up a car and I go drive down the street and I kill somebody in a car accident, it's not that I had the intention of going out there and killing somebody, but I did make the conscious decision to get into the vehicle. Like, and that's with anything. So always hold yourself to a standard where every decision you make, you're trying to mitigate the risk before you even take the chance. Because I know the car example is a little extreme, but it gets the point across that even in the moments that feel insignificant, if somebody's asking me to partake in something and I'm like, I can get away with it, I'm in the safety of my home, it doesn't really matter now, because I think that I've handled all of the consequences and the risks, that it justifies it. But it really doesn't if it goes against what God has asked of me. Like, in this point of my life, I look back and reflect on a lot of the decisions that I made, and I genuinely feel sorry for people who I've taken advantage of in the moments where I thought I was doing right by them. One example, sometimes we say that we lie to protect people and their emotions. However, if we're lying to them, we're disregarding how they would feel about the truth. We're not even giving them the opportunity to know the truth and speak on behalf of it. Of course, I always try to be honest, but in the situations where I left out information, I'm still deceiving someone because I'm not giving them the full story. In situations where I've fornicated with women that weren't my wife, it's unnecessary touching. It is not a regular behavior to be doing with strangers or people that you care about, in the sense of, I haven't committed myself to you. If I'm having sex with you and I believe scripture says that God's spirit has indwelt in me, I am now a temple of God, and I'm going against that and defiling his body by saying, God, listen, I understand you want me to be married before I do this, but I want to do it because it feels good. So then I push him to the side. Not only am I pushing God to the side on my behalf, I'm pushing God to the side on her behalf, because now I'm violating her temple for God if she's a believer. And if she's not a believer, now I'm putting myself in a situation to have sex with somebody who doesn't even care about the God that I care about. And now I'm being with somebody who is unequally yoked. That it says in, I believe, 2 Corinthians. A spider tried to get me. We're going to see. I'm finna get right. Hold up. There's room at the cross for you. There's room at the cross for you. 2 Corinthians 6:14. Be ye not unequally yoked together with unbelievers. For what fellowship hath righteousness with unrighteousness? And what communion hath light with darkness? We aren't to be sitting here as believers consciously choosing people who do not believe the same theology. If we want to make disciples of nations and people, then we must have a strong foundation in the home. If I'm debating my partner all of the time to the point to where now we're not having a conversation at all about my beliefs, why would I think that I'm going to go out into the world now after the most important person in my life on earth? It should be my spouse, should be, because now we're joined in one flesh. I can't have a conversation with my spouse. What makes me think that I'm then going to want to turn around and start telling strangers about something that I get shut down from talking about all the time from my spouse? Like, it's not realistic. So let's, as much as I say, let's not involve ourselves with unbelievers. I know how this world works. I know I'm realistic. I'm understanding that sometimes somebody's going to catch our attention, say the right things, etc. We make decisions with those people, and then we have those conversations later, and I'm like, dang, it's too late. But just have the conversation sooner. It's really not that difficult.